generation florist.
Good morning, I'm Shelby Shy, third generation.
We're an everyday flower shop and we specialize in wedding and events. So that's kind of our thing. And we want to share with you today, but we want you to also share with us because along the way we can learn a lot from each other. We do about 300 to 350 weddings and events a year. And I know that's, if you kind of average it out, it is 6 to 8 a weekend. And yes, we do 6 to 8 a weekend. And if you have a...
Now keep in mind, we do consider one bridal bouquet a wedding. So I don't know about you guys, but I consider that a wedding.
That's a wedding. That's right. All the floral images, I hope you got to see our loop that we did at the beginning. All those floral images were created by our creative team at Shirley's Flowers, so they're all our own work. I mean, I think there might be one that might not be, but almost all of them are. So we want to give those kudos. They do an awesome job.
So today what we're going to share is we're going to share how to find the brides, land the brides, maintain the brides, and how to get referrals from the brides. And then later on, we'll talk a little bit about the trends of 2013 that we've been seeing.
First of all, our average wedding is about $1,900. It's around $2,000. Are you guys seeing that as well in your shops about that? Yes. We also know from, according to the knot.com, we know that 85% of brides hire a professional florist. So that's great news, isn't it? I mean, that is going to be awesome because that's going to be one of us. 15% use a family friend, and I think that has is probably more true now than it was a few years ago. Our average wedding, we know that the average bride spends about $1,988, and we see that that's true. Like I said, is around $2,000. You know, we do a lot of high-end weddings too. We do a lot of low-end weddings. We do a lot of $500 weddings as well. We also know that the bride hires a florist about 6 months out. So what does that mean to you? That means you need to start marketing to her about 6 months before she actually gets married. But you don't only market to her, who else do you market to? Everybody is involved. You have to market to the bride's mother. You've also got to market to the bride's friends. Because generation-wise, most of the people that are getting married, and there are brides, we know that what their friends think is very, very important to them. So you're going to have to sell the bridesmaids as well as the bride. And you want to do that because they're your next bride.
So marketing to the bride. Okay, how do you do that? I think we all are very familiar with word of mouth. It's still very popular, but now the new word of mouth for this generation is on the media, on social media. So it has to be on the website. The main thing that I recommend that works very well for us, on our website we have testimonials. Now how do you get the testimonials? Well, I will share it later on throughout this presentation on how to do so, but the best way for me is the day after or the week after, I always call the bride. And I ask her, how did it go? Sometimes it's a great boost for me personally because typically it's something good. Hopefully it is for you as well. And then I ask them if I can put a testimony on our website from them.
Yeah, I actually got an email from one of the bride's mother, and she said, the wedding that you did for Borum and Jamie were fabulous, and I doubt if any royal wedding could have been any more lovely. Irene Phillips. Well, we know that, I mean, you can kind of guess when this was. It was whenever William and Kate, Prince William and Kate got married. So this was kind of our royal wedding. It was a $30,000 wedding, and I don't know about you guys, but that was a lot for a small town florist like us. And so that was our royal wedding in our town. So what did I do when I got that email? I immediately said, oh, thank you so much for the kind words. Can I quote you on our website? So what we do, we immediately do that. Just remember that and to always do that. And even better than that, ask them if they can do a review for you on any of the search engines like Google, Yahoo, because that takes some time, as you know, and that is going to boost. Every time anybody kind of Googles you or looks you up, anytime that people are talking about you or doing a review, those come up. You want as many good reviews as possible because it's going to make you come up a little bit quicker in the search engine.
It'll help you build your search engine optimization is really what it is. It's a great way to do so. And then if you don't just ask your brides, keep in mind, just ask your employees to put some great referrals out there as well. The next one is bridal fairs. I don't know if you guys have bridal fairs in your area or if you're involved in them, but for us, it's a great thing. But what we do with bridal fairs, they give you a 10 by 10 booth. Sometimes you can buy multiple booths, but whatever you do, just really concentrate on growing it and making it huge. Don't do just a few bridal bouquets. Blow it out the water. Put up all your rentals. Put some columns in there. We're doing one this weekend. We're showcasing some of our new rental items, which are some birch trees, and we're kind of we put some fresh florals in there. We also put our bridal bouquets, but we made them huge. We didn't do pinky ones. We made a big deal.
And also, when you're at the bridal fair, remember that you want to be in the fashion show. Or if they don't do a fashion show, you need to say, can I do my own fashion show, or can I have my own segment? And then you can get your own models that could wear, something that coordinates with the bouquet, or all black, just ask them if you can do that. And it works absolutely fabulous. And be sure and oversize, like Shelby said, your bouquets, because on stage, you want them to be really, really big.
You want them to show up. You don't want it to look like they're doing a little posy or a nosegay. You want it to be like, wow, that's red roses.
So in your booth, you're going to want a few things. You're going to want brochures. We brought some samples of a brochure that we do, and you're more than welcome to look at it and steal from us. So you want to do that. You want your cards in there. You also want photo books. The loop that you saw at the beginning of this, if you didn't see it, I'll be glad to play it again. Do something that shows all of your work. Get a big screen TV and put it in there so it loops and it shows all the time. And we also, if you notice, put in there, you got to brag about yourself. We're 3 generations strong. We've been in the business for a long time. We do beautiful work. We've won all kinds of awards. If you don't brag on yourself, who will? You have got to tell them how great you are. And so you can do that in here, so you're not standing there saying that. But you can do that with that loop that you're going to create. And if you need some help with that, we'll be glad to Shelby created ours, and it's just fabulous. And then we also use it in our wedding consultations, so you can use it over and over again. That you're also going to want to do in your booth is you want to do giveaways, because that's also how you're going to get more contacts out of your bride, so you can get a hold of them again. So you'll want to give giveaways in there. You also can have your brides from past come be in your booth, and they get to wear the dress again. Who doesn't want to wear their bridal dress again, right? So they can wear their dress, you can recreate their bouquet, they can stroll around the bridal fair, with your name, giving out cards, and then they get to tell testimonies that Shirley did my wedding, or whatever the name is, and it was fabulous. So that is give testimonies, like what everybody cares, what everybody else thinks. So remember that as well.
You don't have to just stay within your booth. You can also be outside of just your booth. Ask them if they do like a little cafe where the brides can sit with their moms and sit down and eat a little bit. See if you can do a table arrangement. Keep in mind to do your table tent. You need to make sure that your name is out there, that it's got all your contact information, your logo, and then not only there, but ask, are you doing anything for the entryway arrangement, or an entryway? So you can do an entryway arrangement, show some of your rentals. Always make sure that your name is there. And if they do a big screen where they have sometimes in our area, they loop all the vendors that are there. Make sure that you're there. Showcase some of your work. Put your loop on there, the video that you make of yourself. Just make sure that you aren't just in that 10 by 10 booth. Because we all know how expensive it is. We want to make sure that you're capitalizing on that expense and you're everywhere.
You also want to get in contact with the other vendors that are there, like DJs or whatever, and you can sell them arrangements that can go in their booth, and that can help defer some of your costs. And they want that, because if not, some of the wedding planners, all they have is just their cards or some of their albums. But they would really look to you to be able to put some flowers in there, so you can charge for that. Now sometimes we do that just because we want a good rapport with them, because we want them to refer us to all their brides. So sometimes we do that. So just be everywhere. Just remember that. Don't just stay in that same little group.
And so get those referrals from your vendors. In our area, I put together a little group, what we call ourselves a bridal mafia. And it's several different vendors. So we've got a cake person, a florist, obviously, a stationery person. We also have contact people for venues. and we all get together at least once a month, and we talk about what's going on in our area, what's going on in their industry, what's new at your place. This is a perfect place where you can talk about yourself. Talk about, for us, we just got some new mercury glass items that I want to start renting. So what am I going to do? I'm going to tell them about it. So the next time that they meet with a bride that wants mercury glass, who will they think of? They'll think of Shirley's.
Bridal magazines. How many have a state magazine that's all about brides and weddings and things like that? Well, we have 3 in our area. It's called Arkansas Bride, Cityscapes, there's Celebrate, there's several things like that. You need to meet the editor and continually to do that. And they also, you can't just meet them once. You're going to have to contact them over and over again because they change so often. They have a high turnover in the magazine department. So every time you want to meet them, and then every time you do a wedding, you want to shoot them pictures of your wedding because you're doing their job for them, because we know that they have 2 issues. It's a spring issue and a fall issue that they put weddings in. So you want to, every time you have one, they're going to find one that you do that it's going to be perfect for what they're looking for. Just keep on, and you're going to be their go-to florist eventually. So like these particular magazines, we're their go-to florist, and they will call us if they need anything. I mean, like a tablescape. We drive, most of them down Little Rock, so we end up having to drive 4 hours to take a bridal bouquet or something there. But it's free advertising. They don't charge us to be in the magazine. We just get to show our product, and they put our name on it. And whenever you're in a magazine, it makes you look more professional. So just keep on contacting them. We do Christmas houses for them now. They called me the other day and wanted, it was Christmas. They wanted to see who all we had decorated for so they could take pictures of the Christmas. But you just have to continually, see them and contact them and, say, hey, this would be a great idea. I took this great picture. And then you also need to be in really good contact with your photograph, your photographer, because they have to have professional pictures. So be sure and, stay friends with them. And so anytime they produce or they figure out the wedding, that they always tag you and they always send everything to you so you can send them directly to the magazine. So I think that's something that you definitely want to just keep on contacting.
It just really helps build your credibility with your customer once they see that you're published. The next one that we're going to talk about is local TV stations. I don't know about you guys, but TV ads for me is pretty expensive. I don't know if you guys see that. So what I did is I talked to our local TV station about doing a contest called KNWA Throws a Wedding. KNWA is our local TV station. And what it was is they had a bride and groom that was voted for, that we as local vendors got to throw them a wedding. And so each week there was a different category that they would talk about. One week it was cakes, the next week it was rings and jewelry, and then one week it was florists. So during the florist week, I went up and then I had like a 10-minute segment on their morning show. I got to present a bridal bouquet that the bride would want, a boutonniere for the groom, and then a corsage. So I got to talk about ourselves. Not only did I get to show our work, but I also got to kind of brag. Because as Joe said, if you don't brag about yourself, who will? Hopefully your bridal bouquet vendors will, but you need to do it as well. So I did that, and then that whole week, we were on their website, on their banner, so they got to see very many impressions of us on their website, which really helped build our credibility as well.
Yeah, and we won. So that was even better.
Yeah.
They got to go on the website and they saw, and then you had people that went over there and voted, and so it was great. So that was great advertisement for us that we could use on our website and things like that as well. The next thing we're going to talk about is your website. And I know everybody here has a website, right? If you don't, BloomNet has great technology, people that can help you set up one. You have to have one. This is not even negotiable. You have to have a website if you don't have one. You have to consider your website as a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, another flower shop. It sells for you when you're not there, and it is something that you have to maintain, and it has to look gorgeous all the time. Brides look at your website for research. all the time. We sell, I mean, we'll have people that'll call and they'll look just because they saw our website. I mean, seriously, it has to be that good. Go on our website, kind of look at it, and then just steal from us and make yours even better than us. So just keep on looking at it, and we continually add things to it all the time. I know it's like one more thing to do, but if you want to be in the event and bridal business, you have to show that you can do it, and you've got to put pictures on there all the time.
And if there's one thing that you take away from this, it's getting your website up to date with photos.
Yeah, and it has to be, your website has to be easy to read and navigate, because what do we do now? We look on our phone, so it's got to be mobile ready. So you're gonna have to be able to do that, because all the brides now, that's what they do, is they look on their phone, and they research and they do all that, and then they'll come in and see you. So if they don't see what they like on your website, or if you have what everybody else in the town has on their website, they're not gonna call you, you know, because they're like, there's not their original work. You have to show your original work. Some of the ways that you can do that is that, you know, if you don't have a wedding, or you're just getting into it, or you're new, do some mock centerpieces. Do, you know, like you're doing a bridal fair. We just did a bridal show this weekend. We took pictures on Instagram on every one of our bouquets, and put that on your website, because somebody's going to love it, or they're going to, so if they're there and they're like, how am I going to remember what this looks like? Well, you take pictures of it with it. One time I did this, and this was really fun too. As you remember those cameras that you take a picture of this, and it's called Polaroid. Polaroid, yeah, yeah. So that's what we did that year, is, and you know they don't do that anymore. So I mean, they don't even make them anymore. So maybe they'll come back. But everybody that came in, I had them pick out their favorite one, and then they held the bouquet, and we took a Polaroid on them, and at the very bottom it said Shirley's Flowers. So every time they look at, I mean, you know, they know our contact information and where to get. So do some fun things like that in your booth, and then put it on your website. So that's what we did with those pictures as well.
Now, once you have all these pictures, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, what do I do with them? For us, we have a different category for our weddings page, and then as well as our event page. In our weddings category, I do something a little fun where I take a wedding and then I name it. I name it something typically to do with their color, because we know that our brides love to shop by color. So one, for example, was Romance Moon Red. The other one was Simply Elegant White, or Green with Envy Wedding. I just made them a little bit unique just for that bride, because I think we all know this generation likes customization, personalization, and making something their own. I've even had brides that have come into the wedding consultation, and they researched all about us. They know all of the weddings, and then she even gave me the name. This is what I want you to name my wedding. So it's something fun for them to look at. So we mentioned that it's good to have a good relationship with a professional photographer, so then you can get professional photos on your website. But even if you don't have a professional photographer, take your own pictures. And if anybody doesn't know about Instagram, it's a great way to make your pictures look pretty, even though you just take them with your phone yourself. But there's so many different apps out there that you can do, that you can make your work look good.
Yeah, just get them on there. Just do that. So it'll be awesome.
Instagram. And if anybody has any questions, please pop up and ask, or we can talk later after our presentation. Will be around.
Yeah, we can show you some pictures of what we took from what we did this weekend, and that was done in Instagram. It's phenomenal. It just made it. You can make it look vintage. You can change the way you look at it. It's really kind of fun to do too. The next thing we're going to talk about is email marketing. How many people do email marketing?
Who gathers emails?
Okay. Well, the first thing you have to do is what? You got to get their email address, right? So it doesn't work. So every time you take an order, you train your sales staff to ask for the email address. You know, you can pay them a quarter to do it. I've done that. I paid them 50 cents to do it. I mean, you know, you get so many, you get a bonus. But it's something that's going to be invaluable, and it's an inexpensive way for you to market to your customer base. So we also market weddings to our whole customer base, because guess what? Even though they're not the bride, they have a niece or nephew or somebody that's getting married, and they're gonna pass on that email and forward it on. So that would be great. Now, the other places that you're going to get it is at the consultation. That's the first thing, because you're going to probably converse with her through email, because if not, she will drive you crazy and call you 10 times a day. So you want to get their email address so you can market to them and do that sort of thing too. Also, in your booth, when you give a giveaway, you just tell them the way we're going to contact you is through email. So they're gonna put it on there. We recently did, we do this women's conference, and people were, you know how they're like, no, that's all right, I don't want to give you my email. You know, but we gave away what we call Beat the Monday Blues. For every Monday for a month, they got a free bouquet. I collected 600 emails, you know, so that, that's our person that that's our customer. So, you know, 600 emails that I can market to is invaluable. So think of creative ways. If there's anybody else that has a really good way of collecting emails, that's other than what I spoke about.
Delivered confirmations.
Yeah, delivered confirmations.
Or even just would like a confirmation of your order.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yes, ma'am.
We have our constant contact for and you text them to a phone number and it's their email address and you can one right away.
She said that she uses Constant Contact as her email that she uses. We use Vertical Response, which is practically the same thing. If you guys are looking for any kind of website to send out mass emails, just let me know. I can kind of show you what we do personally, as well as the Constant Contact. Those work really well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Text messaging, I don't know if anybody, I wanted to put this on your radar. Does anybody do any text messaging by marketing? You market that way? You do? Okay, that's really interesting. That's something new to us that we don't do. We do that with our Generation Z, with prom. Like, you know, you can pick up your prom corsage is ready. You know, they love that, so they text all the time. So we kind of market to them that way. But, you know, we haven't got into it yet. I just think it's really important that you ask permission to use their because, you know, I've been getting some things on my phone, they might
You
not
don't want to annoy them. You know, you want to do it in a way that they want to market to them.
So when you're collecting email addresses, because this is the next thing that's coming up, be sure to go ahead and start getting their cell phone, because that's going to be the next thing that you're going to need. So you might as well start getting it now, and then all of a sudden you don't have them.
Social media, I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. If I could dive into the details a little bit more after the presentation, if you'd like me to, I don't want to bore you with some of the things. But the boring definition of social media is it refers to the process of gaining website traffic or attention through social media sites. There are so many social media sites out there, so I was going to touch on the top ones that we use. The first one that you really should concentrate on is a blog. Who all here has blogs? Well, it's something that we've been doing for about 3 or 4 years now, and at first I was really hesitant about doing it because I thought, okay, well that's just another thing that's going to be put on my plate. But it really has been a great outlet for us just to talk about things that are going on in our shop. It's been great for our designers to get involved with the website, but just in terms of a wedding, we use ours. This one, for example, is what I did for one of our wedding vlogs. Is it says Shirley Slaughter's wedding montage. I put together just about 3 or 4 of the weddings that we did over the past month, and it was a fall, and then it was a spring, and a winter wedding. But the main thing that I really want you to take away from this is whenever you talk about weddings, whenever you write any verbiage in your blog, you need to make sure that you're always referring to other vendors or referring to like a place that you're going to be at. So like this wedding, for example, this one was at Pratt Place Barn. And I put a link to Pratt Place Barn. And then I also put a link to the wedding photographers that took these pictures. So I do this for them, and you know that I tell them that I'm doing that, so then they do it for me. So what you're doing is you're building your inbound and outbound links, and I can talk to you more about that later. But you want to make sure that people are really going to your website to read about things. But the only way that you can do that is collaborating with other vendors and making sure that they put your website link from their website to yours.
It's very important to have the venue on there, because what do they want to do is they want to see weddings that are done in that venue. And I know everybody has their favorite places that they do a lot in their area, and we do too. And Pratt Barn is like one of the #1 places that you can go and get married, and we do most of the weddings there. So that's really nice. I mean, so when you're looking, then they know that they can, that they know you do weddings there, number one. They know that it's beautiful because they saw it. So you want to do that.
I blog once a week. Once a week is how often I do it. Sometimes, you know, I don't get to do it once a week. That's my main goal, but I try to get it in there at least three times a month. I'm also a top contributor for SAS, Society of American Florists, flowerfactor.com, and I talk about different things, not only about weddings, but I talk about other things that are top trends in our area. So if you ever have a problem thinking of something to write about, go on here, check out what I've done. I guest blog for them, so you can also think about taking some of those topics, use them for your website, or you can even call me, and then I can be a guest blogger for you. You can do that for other vendors within your area as well.
You know, look at what news and what's happening. Like when Kim Kardashian got married, we had a blast with that one. I mean, we just talked about it forever. The royal wedding was, you know, it was great. You can talk about things like that all the time. And look at it, and they love to see stars getting married in all their pictures. So just look at that and blog about that. What do you think about it? What do you think about her bouquet? What do you think about Kate Middleton's bouquet? You know, things like that. I mean, all that stuff is really easy to blog about.
And it shows that you're watching the trends because you're blogging about it. So it makes you an expert. This is our Facebook page. This is our old version. We've got a new version, so please go out there and look at it and let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your feedback. But notice that I have here Shirley's Flowers. I have our logo. It's very important that you have to brand yourself everywhere. Brand yourself on your website. Brand yourself on the blog. Same thing for Facebook and Twitter. Facebook here, what I think is really important that you do is create an album. So, and what I do on our Facebook is pretty much the same thing that I do on our website. I create albums where I talk about weddings, and then I put a description of what it was. So you can't really see it from here, but the furthest picture to the right is a tall black cylinder with large calla lilies coming out with white phalaenopsis orchids. And I describe it, and I describe it beautifully, so then they see me as the expert because you want to make sure that you are the professional florist and they are looking to you for that, not me and them.
And Facebook is a good, it's all in real time, so you can immediately, like if we're here, you can put it on Facebook now. So when you're at the wedding site, you need to say, I am at this place and I'm setting up, congratulations, Joe and Vicki, or, whoever's getting married. And they like to see their name that way, and it gives, they know that you're there. So on Facebook, you probably ought to do something on Facebook every single day, at least once a day. Okay?
And she said that you can do it in real time, but now they've added on a new feature where you can do backdating. So say if I did, say if we're doing a bridal fair this weekend, well, I'm not there right now, so I can't do it in real time, but I want to make sure that I get it on there because even though it happened 2 days later, or 2 days before, I still want to make sure that it's on there, and I just backdate it so that people will know that we were there.
You can do contests on Facebook, and that makes, always sell to them. They know, people are intelligent. They know you're trying to sell to them. They really want information, and they want you to look at like the experts. So just tell them stories and things like that. Don't always try and sell them. They know.
You guys do any Facebook advertising?
That's interesting.
I haven't yet. I will do that. That is interesting that you brought that up because in the past month they've done it, Facebook, they're getting a little bit smarter. So before it's been free. Now they're doing it where you have to do promotions. So I just realized that when they started doing it, that whatever you're posting or putting on Facebook, if you are a business, which you should be set up as a business so you have fans, not friends, that it only goes to 10% of your fan base. So if you now look at it, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it says about 99 people view this. It's because it's only going out to 10% of your fan base. So now you have to do promotions, so you have to pay for it. So I haven't personally done that yet. I will be doing that because I definitely think it's worth it, especially with brides, because that's that generation.
Yes, Bob.
One of the questions, do you find it very important to post an image with all of your posts on Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, think about it as yourself, as a customer. Whenever you're looking at it, do you want to really read? I don't want to read. Please say, but I don't. I want to see the pictures. And we're so lucky because we're in a business that we sell pretty stuff. So, great point. Email marketing. Joe mentioned different ways of how to get emails. This is an email marketing campaign that I did right after a bridal fair. You can't read it, but it said, "Hello, bride-to-be. We met at the bridal fair, and I wanted to personally congratulate you on your upcoming wedding." Blah, 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 and I say some sweet things, great things. But the main thing is I put pictures on there of stuff that we've done. This is a wedding that we did that year. I also make sure that I put all of our contact information. The next campaign that I want to do, I haven't done it yet, but I want to take great pictures of our booth and then email that, because everybody that's at the bridal fair will see your booth. They see how many booths, 100, 150 they get. I mean, they don't remember. So I want to remind them who we are and what we can do for them.
So on Twitter, how many people do you? It's kind of tough, isn't it, to come up with something. So, you know, you should tweet like 2 or 3 times a day. How often do you tweet, Paris?
We use Hootsuite.
All the times a day.
She mentioned Hootsuite. It's also TweetDeck. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but there's so many things out there. We're talking about so many social media things. It's just another thing to add on. But there are websites that you can use where you can do like TweetDeck, where you can put things out just one time and it goes to all your different accounts. So it would go to your blog, it'll go to your Facebook, and it'll go to your Twitter page. So that is something that you can look into doing.
Kind of save some time. But in tweeting, sometimes what I thought would be really great is that I would use like things like I did Earth Laughs and Flowers by Ralph Emerson, and you know, whoever says it, do some quotes, some flower quotes or something really pretty like that. And you can just Google flower quotes and use some of that kind of thing. So it doesn't always have to be, you know, you can't put in, you won't believe the calories I just got in, you know, so it can be things like that. But in between that, just do some filler, things like that. That would be good.
Or better yet, follow other florists and take from them. I think that we're all small businesses, but I think we should all support each other. So follow other florists and take some ideas from them. I say steal, don't think of it as that, just thinking help promote. Oh, and Jackie mentioned Pinterest. How many people do have Pinterest? Yeah? I think it's great. I don't know about you, but I can't sit through a consultation without a bride or a bridesmaid looking at their phone with a Pinterest board. I find it very great. I love it. I'm able to see exactly what she wants, so I can create that dream that she does want. So not only do a personal page, you need to do it for your business. You know, you need to pin things, but you need to have people pin you. That's the main thing, because you want to be viewed, again, as the expert professional florist. So make sure that you're doing boards of your work as well.
There's a florist that I met when I think I talked to Michigan State, and they actually do a board for every one of their brides. They do a flower board and send it to them. So they created, I'm sure, some kind of template that they do that. Does anybody do that? Because I think it's a great idea. It's something that we haven't put the energy into yet, but anybody else do that? But I thought that would be really great if you had time to do that. I think they would love it. Love
And it
it.
shows again, and that reiterates that you're on the same page, that you, whenever they say burlap and lace, or shabby chic, that means so many different things that just in my mind. But once you copy them and see the pictures of what their shabby chic is, then you can kind of create the board and go from there for them.
But Pinterest is so huge, and Pinterest brought back baby spread. How many people are doing lots of baby spread? Yeah, I mean, they are. They bring in those pictures, and the burlap roses, they're all over Pinterest. I looked at that and I was like, oh my gosh, you know?
Bowls,
Yeah, any of that. So if you just spend, and let me tell you, you get lost. You can be on there for 4 hours and your time's gone, so watch that.
Ask our designers.
Oh, yeah. YouTube. Anybody have a YouTube channel and do any kind kind of things like that. It is something that you need to do, but one of the things that I don't spend a lot of time on it is that I really think, one of the things that we're going to do, and I'll kind of give you an idea, and we did a space that was like a warehouse, and then we created it into a beautiful wedding. So we just took time-lapse shots of it every time we did something, and then we're going to put that video on our website to kind of show what you do every day in a wedding. I thought that would be kind of fun to do. But be sure that your YouTube video is embedded into your website, because if not, and if they click on it and they go to YouTube, what happens after that? You know, if you like this, you know, this YouTube, you're gonna love the one with the horse carrying the baby's breath down the road. So then they get lost and they're away from your site. You don't want them to stay away from your site. You want to keep them on your site. So remember that.
Okay, the next one is landing the bride. How many people here have a designated area just special for wedding consultations? Yeah, we definitely do. Ours also doubles as our sympathy table. But what I do is I always set aside some time. So I typically try to keep it to an hour. But I get all of their information before we meet, and then so what I do is I get their email address. Of course, I'm trying to gather those emails, and then I send them a form for them to fill out. So then I can figure out exactly what their theme is, what colors, where it's going to be taking place at, and then I try to create kind of that look in our wedding consultation area. So if they're liking red roses, black rocara roses, then I try to do an arrangement for that. And I try to set candles out, just make it a little bit more inviting. And then it looks as though I'm kind of on the same page that she is, and I'm definitely reading what she wants. In that consultation area, we also have all of our rental items out there, because for me, I know that brides like to actually see it. Yes, they do like to see the wedding video loop, which we have in there with our TV. We also have our wedding albums, but nothing's like being able to see it personally on the table, or to see the archway as they walk underneath it and they realize, okay, well, he's this tall and the arch is this tall. So it just gives them a little bit better idea of what's going to be there the day of their wedding.
Okay, how many people meet their bride looking like this? Yeah, can I help you? You know, I know we have all probably done this. You've been out, you know, you got a hydrangea, you got Design Master, and you've done this. Your hand's purple and blue because you couldn't get it the right color. You've been working with those cow lilies that have been there a while, and they got that green slime, and it's on you, and they don't know what it is, you know, and you come out with an eye. You know, you're I mean, come on, tell me, do they want to buy?
Where they're like, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, really watch what you wear whenever you come out to meet them. So take your apron off, put down the knife, and then go out and set, you know, you can say, you know, I want to take some special time with you that's just me and you, and I won't get interrupted, so I need to make an appointment. And also, I need to make an appointment because I'm so busy. That's a good thing for them to see that you're busy, you know, and I have an appointment on this day, but I can't do it on Wednesday because I've already got an appointment. Well, they don't know it's your hair or your nails. So, you know, I mean, but they think you have lots of appointments, and you want them to think that way because they want somebody that's busy and that does a great job for them. So dress trendy whenever you meet with them and look really cute, because they don't want somebody that doesn't get them. They've got to connect with you and know that you see their vision. So dress cute. I mean, you know, dress, you know, how you want to. Now, some different brides might, you know, I have brides that their mothers need to see me because I'm older, you know, and they like that. So you kind of watch what you think they're looking for. And all the brides, of course, you know, Shelby is closer to their age, and she gets them, you know.
Thanks,
so.
Mom.
So it works out good.
Another great thing that I forgot to mention about making wedding consultations, I try to urge them to come to the shop Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, whenever, because I know that we'll have more of our weddings done for the weekend that's coming up, so then I can show them some of our work and some things that we're working on. We have a large 50 by 15 foot cooler where I can take them into, show them some of the things that we're doing for like our 100 tabletop events that we do, so then they can kind of see, wow, you guys can really hold your own build that credibility. Be perky and excited. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm sitting in a consultation and they're like, I'm really excited, I'm really one of a kind, and I want red roses. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
genius. And then rhinestones in the middle, yes, I'm so excited. You know, I mean, you have to act like it is something different that you're seeing. You're like, oh, wow, your mother's veil. Great. Nobody's done that. You know, they need to feel that way. You need to be excited. You don't need to be like, oh. All right, and then what about the groom? You want to match? You know, you have to be excited. You have to love what you do and show it.
Oh, they love you talking about the ring because I can't really see it, you know. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Just wow. Professional wedding estimate forms. Everybody should have that. We double that as our contract as well. Don't write it on the back of a napkin. Don't write it, you know, on one of your regular forms. Have something that looks very professional. We do hand write ours usually, and then we put. I would like to get where we do it paperless and that we do it on the computer. There's a lot of people who can ask me about that. I don't give them our estimate. We don't put recipes on our estimate forms. We'll do descriptions on that, but we won't tell them exactly because we don't want them going down the road and doing something different. I know that can be a problem. But this does double as our contract. Anybody have people sign their contract? And that's a really good thing to do. That way they know what they're getting and they can sign for it so they can't say, we forgot my hospital cake, you know. Well, it wasn't on the form that you looked, you didn't order, you know. So it just kind of double does that for you. So that works out really good. We ask for a 25% deposit up front. Everybody do that?
50.
50.
You do 50%?
50.
Good girl. Well, we do 25%. And then we used to always, if it's something that was our shift, you know, like to get, you know, like, we usually get it back. So I think it's a good deal type thing. But if they're really paying, sometimes we don't want to.
Charging them a consultation at front?
We don't.
No. I've heard of people doing that, and then it typically goes into the wedding. You know, build it in there, which I think is a great way. I don't feel comfortable being with Lord asking for that, but if you can, you go for it.
But once we get them in, they buy from us.
They do.
Yeah, so we usually don't have that. Now, if you have a lot of problems with that, then you might consider doing that. And I think, I mean, it's your time, so you should charge for your time. So we kind of build it into the wedding because we almost always get it. So the rest of the ending, the balance is due 3 weeks before the wedding. So be sure to get that. I said that's when we order from the farm. We go over the wedding again. If they lost a bridesmaid in Vegas, you know it then. Or if they switched rooms, which has happened to us, you know, all that, you can get the name right on the groom and the horse and make sure that you do that. But we do the rest of it before that. Don't wait till after the wedding. Get it before. And then we meet again and go over everything. After that, I make out all the recipes for the designers because you don't want them to do it because you want to have your hands on it or whoever, if you are the designer. I make all the recipes so that we know that there's not too much going into that bouquet because you have to make money on it. Labor charge, we charge 35% for our labor charge for a wedding. You know, 4 times our 4.5 sometimes 3.5 depending on the flower. That's how we market our flowers. Just to kind of share with you. We're an open book, so you can ask us pretty much anything. So that kind of gives you an idea. The recipes are very, very good idea. You need to do that.
Before we have a wedding, I try to think about if a future bride might enjoy the wedding that we're about to set up. If I try to do mock centerpieces for brides, but if I can't do that for them, and I know that, for example, if you're doing a cascading bouquet of Phalaenopsis orchids, and then a bride about 2 months down the road wants that same thing, I call her, let her know, come to the shop, I want you to see this is what it looks like, so that I'm not doubling up on that cost. I think it's a great way to do that. Another way is invite them to an actual venue that they're either getting married. Does anybody see that? I'm really not going that. Okay. You got a wedding estimate, it's all right. But if you can't invite them to go to that wedding, so then they can see something that you've done there. So if they're wanting to use the columns in that space, and you're doing columns that weekend, tell them to come down to local Baptist church and see what they can see, what you can do for them.
We've already talked about the wedding contract. I think it's a good thing to have, and that you'll know. Do-yourself brides. You guys got a lot of those in your area, do-yourself brides?
Yeah.
2008, we kind of noticed that there was a little bit of a difference because of the economy, the downturn in the economy. And we had a friend that was a photographer, and I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit because we're running a little long. He had this, he was a high-end photographer, like we consider ourselves a good high-end florist. And his name is Hudson, it's Hudson Photography, and he travels all over the world and shoots. Well, I noticed that what he did is he created a new brand, and he called it The List. So he could do new packages, same photographers, but they didn't make their name, go cheapen their brand, you might say. And so he started doing package deals and with his photography. So when Shelby was doing wedding estimates, she said, I get to the reception and Aunt Debbie's always doing it, or the cousin's doing it. And I'm like, well, we have to get flowers somewhere, right? So we wanted a piece of that pie. So we created a new brand called Flower Power Hosting. And so we started, it's we're running out of the flower shop, we just call it that. So we sell flowers by the bunch, to the bride, that do-yourself bride. And they're really, this is something that was really huge for us, especially during those years that was a little bit tough. And the cost was only just doubled it, wherever you got, if I got it, I do a lot directly from the farm. And of course, we make sure that you have your freight in there, but I would double that and sell it to the bride. So they would have to buy carnations by 25, they had to buy roses by 25, garden roses, snapdragons, anything they wanted, they had to buy by that. You could do that same thing with your local wholesaler if you don't buy direct. There's a guy named Doug Frick, and he is in Oregon, and he does this in a big way. He does it on his website, that brides actually go on there and they order their, their wholesale or whatever. I don't know exactly what he calls that.
They have a completely separate page. As I talked to, we have a weddings page and we have an events page. He has a wholesale page, and he can sell directly to them, and it doesn't even touch it.
Yeah, it goes directly to the
from the wholesaler to
his local wholesale. And they pack it, he just gets the box in and gives it to the bride. So make it your own if that's something that you think would be good for you. It works really, really well for me. They would rather buy from us than Sam's because we're the professional. So, and we get their colors and we understand all that. So that's something that we did. So if you want to talk more about that, we can do that.
This is our wedding estimate that Joe touched on. It's just a simple Excel spreadsheet. And of course, it has our brand, our contact information on it, and then it has the date of the wedding, time of the wedding, and all that information. I also have a bridal bouquet, bridesmaids, all the way down to the delivery and setup fee. Some people could call it the aggravation fee, maybe. And then your taxes. And then we also have the 25% deposit, and then the remaining balance is due 3 weeks before the wedding, because that is when we order the flowers, and then we have them signed. How do you maintain that bride? One way is we offer them several different things. One thing that we do is we offer them bridal portraits. I personally don't give away our bridal portraits. Some people do a bridal portrait bouquet for free once they've been booked. I still do a full charge. Sometimes I'll do a half price bridal portrait bouquet. But really the main way that I sell it is the first initial consultation. I ask them if they're going to if they have any question about the bridal bouquet, what it's going to look like, because they're having a really hard time envisioning it. I say, well, are you going to do a bridal portrait? Well, yeah, we need a bouquet. So why don't you let us do the bouquet for you? It's a perfect mock-up piece where you can see it, and we can make any changes at that time. And there it is, and that on sale for you.
But we do centerpiece mock-ups, and we don't charge for that. So if a bride doesn't get what her centerpiece, after they give, they have to have the deposit already in. We will do a centerpiece for them to look at.
But if you can't incur that cost, then take some of our ideas to call them and let them know when you are doing something that's similar to that for them to come in and see it. So then you're not just doing an extra table furniture.
Now, keeping your bride updated on the trends in her theme. That's the key here, is that's in her theme or what she's already booked. Don't give her a bunch more ideas and start emailing her a bunch of ideas, or it'll become a hot mess. I mean, it'll be crazy. She will change her, and they change it up already, right? So, but I think if you see something that is in the teal and brown, and that's her colors, and you email it to her, I think she's like, wow, that horse really gets it. So that's a good way to keep them maintained.
Have final meetings before the wedding. We already talked about this a little bit. We try to meet again 3 weeks before the wedding, because that is when remaining balance is due, and you can find out if it is still the same room, if she still has her 10 bridesmaids, what have you. We also invite them to come back the day before the wedding. I like to do this as a second kind of follow-up, so then they can see anything that they'd like to change, so you can make it, if possible, that day and not the day of the wedding. Because for us, like I said, we do about 6 to 8 weddings a weekend. We don't want to have to be changing the bridal bouquet throughout that whole day. We are already back-to-back logistically, so it doesn't work for us. So it's not only a good thing for a stress reliever for the bride, but it's also definitely a stress reliever for us to have them come in. And they really appreciate it. When they see that you're willing to have them come in the day before, they're like, oh, I'd love to see it. And of course, they want their bridesmaids to come in and see it as well, so they can kind of brag about it.
How many are shipping?
All of them. Well, there's a few, I take that back, that I have to beg, but really it's so rare. They really want to come in and see it. And if not, the moms do. I don't know about you guys, but I really get to know the moms.
Yes.
You know?
This contact agreement for a honeymoon suite, flowers, it's really kind of more like an add-on sale, but it also maintains the bride as well. I have a friend in Russellville, Arkansas that sells this like crazy. He goes in and he puts petals all over the bed and has flowers in there. He does candles, and he starts at $150, and he sells it almost at every room that there is, because he wants that night to be the night. So be sure to do that. I mean, that's something I thought was a great idea I shared with you.
Good at them, sale. Referrals are huge. Now, how do you get referrals from brides? Like I said, you can send customer surveys, or I like to call the bride, because first of all, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I want a little, so I want to hear a little nice thing about what I did for them the week before. And this is when a perfect time to get testimonials, get them to write things on search engines for you, and then also just to try to get referrals.
Be sure and contact the photographers, of course, and because you've got to have those pictures. You've got to have those professional pictures for your website and for your photo booths, because people do still like to go through the photo booths and they still like to touch them. So contact the photographer, and during the consultation,